IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, I'm going to start this show. It's called Cyrus Says. I have to say that for some reason by slapping myself. Oh shit, should have hit the other cheek. My cheeks are so big, the mic is broken now. But anyway, my point is that how dare we, when India is playing a test match at home, do anything at the same time? How dare we as connoisseurs of the game? And for that, I will penalize myself. I am going to eat vegetarian food for 2, 1. Well, I'll just add 1 roti or something. But I'll do something bad to myself. Just want to quickly say, I've noticed the action of not using coasters is spreading. The other day, somebody came to my house and delivered a check. And when people give check or money to our family, we always feel the reason, or we feel that we need to give them a glass of water or even Tang or whatever we have, because they're bringing in money. So I made him sit down and I offered him a glass of water and I kept the coaster there, right next to him, on the table. He ignored the coaster. He did an A coaster job and he put the glass 2 inches away from the coaster. I, of course, put the glass then on the coaster. Again, he took a sip, continued talking to me, and again he put it on off the coaster. I nearly lost it. I felt like tearing up the check. And I don't know why this is happening, why people refuse to respect the coaster.
Want to learn something new and have a few minutes to spare? Well, then go for the Traveling Professor's Diary, where I, Siddharth Deshmukh, the Traveling Professor, will help you glean from all the insights that I've gained from wherever I've traveled, learned, taught, and repeated. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Why this is happening, why people refuse to respect the coaster. I'll find out all this when I talk to a man who has always put his glass of hot tea, chai, coffee, whatever on coasters. Because he's remained with a radio station for the last 150 years. He's changed a couple, but he's stayed in the business, and he's probably the prominent voice in radio, the father of the radio nation, if you want to know. Right now, he is the Chief Programming and Digital Strategy Officer for Fever, FM Radio, Nasha, and Radio 1. That's different channels, by the way. India's most successful radio network, Bisham Pitama of radio, media, professional, and influencer, startup expert. I should have read it before saying it, so I understand what I'm saying. But the point is, he makes over 40 crores a month. He's a lovely man with his own NGO called I Say for Gaurav Sharma. And his name, yes, sounds like a film actor, Gaurav Sharma. It sounds like somebody you grew up with. Everybody knows a Gaurav Sharma. Well, this is the Gaurav Sharma, the prototype, the original, the one and only. Gaurav, are you there? Woohoo! Oh, magic of technology. I mean, wow.
No, finally, I'm like dead nervous because it's all on radio. First time the world is watching, so therefore I've kind of had a
voice
bath
that
after
is
a week.
not seen for thousands of years. You're like God. See, we don't know what God looks like. So 1 minute, are you?
Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman.
Yes. I stand corrected. Definitely Morgan Freeman was the right choice by the voice as well. If we wanted an Indian because of the present government, it would be more Desi concept. So who would be the Indian God?
I don't know. I think I would put Nawazuddin Siddiqui.
Because size doesn't matter. You're God, right?
Yeah. Sabka badla lega.
Sabka badla lega. That's the God you want? No benevolence? Badla, khoon, that kind of conversation. Oops, ouch. Alrighty. Let's go straight to the man himself. Okay, Gaurav, now see, this whole thing is, we've got to talk about your life and your struggle. You've had no struggle because you were on the top from the beginning. But let's begin with the actual beginning, then we'll come to all the things that you're doing now. Because one great thing about you, and there are many great things, is that you stayed the course. Most of us try to do different things to survive, but you just stayed the course. And I don't know whether you did that with intent or whether you just believed in yourself or whether it's just luck to some extent, because you stayed the course and grew in the medium.
But I have to say, before we start, Cyrus, you stayed the course too, yeah?
I stay with my parents. Is that what you mean? I live with my mom. Yeah.
We've been neighbors, Little Gibbs Road and Mount Pleasant
Road. Correct. And don't show off, Baba. This is my podcast audience is very poor. They don't like this kind of conversation. Yeah.
Look, they don't even know where these roads are because they've been renamed. Yeah.
What about the Scootsy guy? The Scootsy guy, it's a challenge. Sometimes it doesn't appear. Little Gibbs Road, you land up in Bristol, England.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know what is the name of your road now.
So it's Durga something. Oh God, it's a tough one. I forgot. But Jatya, Durga Jatya, something Jatya.
Look, I don't even know what Mount Pleasant Road is anymore. But you've stayed your course, yeah. I mean, and really, honestly, I've been such a huge fan, and you've just been consistent. Yeah, I mean, I thought that the jokes will run dry in like
They did. But we recycle. Thank God for that. Listen, Gaurav, don't praise me. I'm here to praise you. That's the damn show.
Sorry, I keep forgetting.
You forget you're not a host now. You're actually what you're not. Yeah. For one, you've done this a couple of times, but in your life, right? Whether you on the other side of the mic.
Yeah. But radio has been such a fan. It's just been such a fabulous medium. Yeah, I mean, I've been in love with it since then. And of course, like, you've had the face for television. I've had the face for radio. So no one wanted to see this anyway. So I was like, let's do radio. And
the medium that I have the face for has not been discovered. We're waiting for it. Mera number kab aayega. But okay, now stop making fun of yourself, because the fact of the matter is, I want to just go back to the beginning when Gaurav Sharma was a young man. I'm just trying to rack my brains. I remember events, those kind of things. So you sort of were doing the same thing that there wasn't that much available, right? I'm talking mid-90s when it all sort of started.
Yeah.
So what was the first foray and how did it happen?
I think it was always, I don't know about, again, I keep kind of throwing things back at you because I do find some kind of similarity there. But I do think that it was probably, right from school, yeah. I mean, you're just fond of the stage, yeah, performing, singing, acting, theatre. I think theatre is really that kind of kicked it off. I mean, that I think is where everything kind of began. And then from theatre, then you figure out, okay, what next? And, how do you keep a passion going? How do you keep a hobby going? And radio happened, yeah, in the mid-90s. And it was just, it happened by chance, actually. A friend of mine used to host a show on radio, and she said, Gaurav, why don't you come in and, meet up with the programming head at that point of time? And there's a new show that they're doing. And then I went in and I loved the medium. In fact, honestly, before that, I'd never heard radio. I mean, apart from All India Radio, of course. And, there's Amit Sahni.
और ये हवा में जा रहा है और ये Nirma washing powder Nirma. So you know what happened after that?
Yeah.
Those were the days. I love that radio, that amateur radio feel, because they didn't know what was happening.
And also because it was just so, they cut off one superpower of yours, right? Which is the visual medium. Yeah. And then you kind of just had to imagine.
There was a romance, exactly.
Yeah.
Figure it out yourselves. The reality show. Did he get out? Did he make a single? No idea until they come back. Yeah, I remember those days.
And like, I was like, I was around this much. So I said, that hang on, I think radio is the best medium for me. Yeah.
But no, let's go back to the fact that you were doing events. You were anchoring. You were known as an anchor also. You're always a guy in college and all people go to. You get a reputation. People get a reputation. I was a pickpocket. You were an anchor. And so, but you never, you wouldn't think at that point that this is what you do, right? I'm trying to just get your head as a teenager.
Never. It was always, this was always
it was a status thing, Gaurav, the guy who held the stage.
It was just a passion and a hobby. Otherwise, it was education, yeah. I mean, finished whatever college and, come from a business, a family background, which has a business background, and then kind of got into, did my MBA. So went into advertising. So
how really many times do we tell people, sorry to interrupt, but do not do your MBA if you have talent. MBA is when you don't have talent, because you waste that damn seat. You waste 3 years of your life, perhaps your father's hard-earned money. And after all that, you can't bring that back. And then now, of course, it probably would help you because you became a businessman in a sense as well. You're an entrepreneur on radio. So, it comes back a full circle in a sense. But generally speaking, if you're talented, why do you eat up a seat? But of course, we didn't know. You didn't know what would happen then.
Yeah, you didn't know. But really, this is true. Yeah, I mean, what you just said, that if you have a passion and if you're really into the arts, and again, at that point of time, Cyrus, what were the arts? Yeah, I mean, there was nothing on at that point of time, like you said, right? There was
financially.
One radio station. Yeah, financially, definitely not. And and even the one or two television channels, or just a few.
The tripartite experience of radio star, where I did a little bit in the morning, 7 to 8, which nobody listened to. Then I think it was midday times for 2 hours. You guys
Times FM and then radio midday.
Midday. So, but it was only a 3-4 hour chunk, if I remember correctly, right? FM.
Times FM had the max. I think they had like a
2 hours
morning chunk, and then they had an evening chunk, and midday also. Correct. I think had a couple of hours in the morning and evening. And of course, Radio Star. You started radio. You were the radio star.
I was earlier, 1 hour earlier than
radio
you.
Star.
But I'm just thinking, upmarket India or urban India, or whatever you want to call us, the ones who are probably English educated, I don't know, they all turned to FM. For a little while, FM was really big because that was the only option. Did you realize that you were on the cusp of something when suddenly overnight people would know your name a little bit and your voice is known?
Yeah. And especially, I think only two things, right? If you were into that slight creative field, either you were in advertising or you were in radio. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, that was it at one point of time, because everything else was either you become an engineer or you become a doctor or you become a chartered accountant, and that's what you were trained to be, right? I mean, there was nothing else that you could be. So if you were slightly, let me just, show my edge a little bit, I'll join advertising, even if you don't know anything. But no, I am in advertising. I worked with Alec Padamsi. I mean, those were the things, right?
That would be a funny thing, no? If you could use your education in your art form. So if you're a CA, I'm just thinking, and you're doing top 10 hits, Billboard hits or something on the radio, and you have to bring in your CA experience.
Yeah, and your top 5 songs would probably be Money is Too Tight to Mention by Simply Red, and and Pesa and all of that, and
Can't Buy Me Love, too much.
Can't Buy Me Love, of course. In today's world, Can't Buy Me Love.
Money for nothing, chicks for free. Government will clamp down on that kind of music, bro. No way. Chicks for
that's
free.
Why we joined, because that was the song doing the rounds, right? We heard the song and we were like, wow, man, there's Mark Knopfler and there's Sting and they're singing Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free. I mean, this is it, right? And you joined MTV anyway after that.
Yeah, well, it's not like I joined MTV. I couldn't get a job anywhere else. So, that's another story for another day. But yeah, then the world opened up. I think we were the generation that got lucky in a sense, because radio boomed, then television happened. It all happened in front of us. As right now, of course, you've got the internet and they've got more options. But having said that, I think we were lucky. Just 5-10 people would get work, and we made a little career because there was no competition. For me, that's the happiest thing, not having people around. VJ Hunt or RJ Hunt, my God, can you imagine competing with 40,000 people across the country? Probably 85% better than yourself in many ways. So I think right place, right time. Just take your karma and accept it.
99%. Yeah, I mean, really, look at that. And I remember when we were when post this initial phase of Radio Midday and Times FM, and when Radio Mirchi happened, and we were traveling to different cities to kind of hire and recruit radio jockeys. My God, the kind of lines, even here in Bombay, I think we did an audition because, Times put out an ad, and at Mahim, there was a studio. There were, I think for 5 days, there were lines of kids who wanted to become radio jockeys. I mean, wow, right? Yeah.
And if you only told them your salary, at least my salary, they would have broken that line so quickly. Honestly, I couldn't even pay for parking. But that was...
No. I think the first radio show, I got some 200 rupees or whatever. But anyway, that was still more than what Alec paid me for my first play. I don't know about you.
Well, the Padamsi clan is notoriously generous in that sense. They always give me like one full batata vada for lunch or during the breaks, while the others get 1 by 2. So I can't argue on that point. But I think like for us, the romance of it again, I don't want to harp on that, but we didn't know in many ways what would happen. For me and you, I think initially it was more like an amateur effort where you're just enjoying it.
Network.
Hi. Yes,
Frozen
Cyrus is
in
stuck.
time. I'm stuck?
No, Cyrus is stuck.
Oh, Cyrus
You're
is
fine,
stuck.
sir.
You can see me though?
Yes, I can see you. Yes.
Oh, okay. So I'm... Hey. Well. So are we still going live? I mean, so
Yes,
can I tell people that, in the first test between India and England, England is batting and they are 16 for no loss. And of course, that's not as exciting as this chat show, Cyrus says, and Sharma G. So you need to just hang around here. And of course, I would love to interview this guy. I mean, what a fantastic guy he is. Yeah, really. But like I said, that, I'm just kind of being held back today. But we will do a session where it'll be the other way around. On a couple of these social media initiatives that I'm doing, there will be Cyrus Brocha live with Sharma Ji. Today is the other way around. But yeah, we're still kind of looking for Cyrus. What an absolutely fantastic, wonderful guy he is. And I've said these things behind his back. So, I never say this to him when I kind of meet him.
We'll put this out on social media and play it on loop.
No, then you need to put, I need to make a disclosure. Now that he's not there, I can say whatever, right? So there's a love triangle between, Cyrus, Kunal, and me. And of course, the triangle is such that both Kunal and Cyrus are both in love with me. So, what do I do? I mean, that's how it is. So,
Nice.
so that's what it is. And this is a disclosure. This is a disclosure on what global media. Yeah. Initially, it would be kind of limited to a particular city, but this is a global khulasa, the love triangle between Kunal, Cyrus, and Sharma ji. So, any questions coming in from everyone
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
live? Yeah,
Yeah. Someone is saying, Cyrus says, can we convert it to Sharma says? Take it away, Gaurav. That's Rohit Pillai and Kachin said.
Hey, the minute you said that, he's back.
Yeah.
The minute you said that, he's back.
Are we back?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. I
Yeah,
made a
Cyrus,
few
yeah.
disclosures.
Ah.
I've spoken to them about the love triangle between you, Kunal, and me. So it's all out there now. Yeah, it's
Damn
out
it!
there.
Damn it! But I froze when technology goes wrong. I just freeze. I lose all confidence. I put the match on. I put the volume back on. I just panicked. I couldn't believe it. I apologize to everybody. I have no idea what happened, but I think it's
People wanted to leave, and I told them, look, the match is not as exciting as Cyrus. Yeah, 16 for no losses, no matches yet. Unless it's 36 all out.
It'll happen again. Don't be cocky. It'll happen again. But I'm worried that our batting, our fielders shouldn't be listening to our podcast. We don't want them to get distracted with the wonderful news that we're giving them about.
You never know. You remember that World Cup match where Hansi Cronje had this earpiece and he was getting these instructions. Yeah, man.
Bob Woolmer, experimented. I want that for life. I want a life coach on my ear, so wherever I go, especially with strangers saying the right thing, because I hate redundant conversations when people say, hello, what's up? I say, I have no idea, that kind of thing. So to behave myself, I want a life coach in my ear telling me, no, don't be mean.
I've always had this concept. I want this one, like a little headphone or earphone kind of a thing, but only I can hear what's happening. And, and just change the music. So like if I'm entering, your podcast.
Programmed. To the atmosphere. Correct.
It'll be fab. Yeah,
your thinking is ahead of its times. So wherever you go, your background music suits the ambience, so to speak.
So I'm going for like a job interview, or then there's like Star Wars, or dun 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 dun. Then you have that kind of a music. Or if I'm kind of meeting you, then it's it's girls just want to have fun.
Uplifting. Girls just want to have fun. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Or if it's my wedding night, I'm a creep by Radiohead in the background. Yes. Spill it out so she knows where she stands in everything.
Yeah. Or Samantha Fox, touch me.
Look at the references. I love it. We have to have people like ourselves only on these podcasts, because if there's anyone under 25, Samantha Fox, who's that? Rugby player. Checking out. Yeah, could have. Okay, let's not go there. Let's go back to Gaurav Sharma's trek. So you got into radio, and then what happened? Tell us how you zoomed ahead.
Really, if we kind of getting back to Zoop, then I would say that, like I said, education happened, and we just discussed that, why, but yes, further education happened, MBA happened, advertising happened. And when I was with the ad agency is when, like I said, a friend of mine, Priya Fonseca, she was a radio jockey with Times FM, and she said that, hey, Gaurav, we should try out radio. It's damn good. There's a new show coming up, and they're looking for an anchor. So why don't you come and meet my programming head? And I said, and we'd all heard radio as kids. Yeah, Bonvita quiz contest and whatever, this Bela Ke Phool and this and that. And
now sponsored by the TMC.
Yeah, now sponsored by. No, now it's, and also I think they've changed the name to Mamta Ke Phool, but anyway.
Ooh, ouch. We play out in Calcutta, actually. I forgot, with the internet, we play out everywhere, but no longer radio. Yeah.
So then that's what happened, and then I got onto Times FM, and I realized, wow, man, what a fabulous medium. Like you said, you romance with a medium which does not give you visual support at all. And at that point of time, anyway, television was just starting off. Cyrus Brocha had taken over television. So we said, well, now what do we do? So let's get into radio. And that's how radio happened. And then one brand to the other, there was...
See, in my case, because of my low self-esteem, sorry to interrupt again, when you praise me, I don't know whether you're being sarcastic or not. So it's so painful for me. It's like, I'm thinking, do I have piles or do I not have piles? Is there pain in the bottom or not? That's what I want to know. Yeah. Sorry,
go on. By the end of the show. No.
I already have, brother. Don't you remember how old we are? Just because you lost weight and look young, the age is still there. So what about the experience with Brian Tellis? Did he come on to you? Was he misbehaving? Because wasn't he like the first voice, like oldest voice?
Can we disclose that there was Brian Tellis,
of course.
Jitu Raj, and of course
Jitu Raj, of course, the legend. Jitu Raj, who I still can't understand. We once claimed to come back from Argentina the night before, but he left in the morning, and I tried to explain to him that the flight over 3 planes is 36 hours minimum.
And of course, then there are other theories of who he actually is.
Who is he?
Yeah.
Is he with the CIA or something? I mean, he's always this very mysterious man.
and
But
how
super
he was
successful.
banned from a particular country and all of that. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
But I think these things work. Yeah. I mean, I think that's another school of personality, right? Building a personality where there's this aura around you and people don't know who you are, where you're from, what do you do, and it's radio. They've probably not even seen you. So
For
imagine
me, when I met him for the first time, I saw him, as you mentioned, I thought of him as Garibo ka Jedi or something, because he had this hoodie and he's a very thin fellow inside this large, tracky thing, and very friendly, very sweet, very well-mannered actually. And in fact, didn't sound so much like the guy on radio, who's also well-mannered, not like he's not, but he was really, really, well, I was like, are you Jituraj or are you just somebody with the same name? I couldn't quite. I thought he'd be a really cocky fellow,
For a phase, he went into being called Leonardo da Radio. So that was another phase. Yeah, I mean, you were like, "Are you Jituraj?" No, I'm Leonardo da Radio.
But Leonardo da Radio, as in Punjabi da Radio, or is it? Well, don't answer those silly questions.
But going back to Brian, what a great what an inspiration. I mean, heard a lot of Brian, of course, before I met him, and even now, he hosts a show on Radio 1, and I'm not plugging, but
please plug. He hosts a show on Radio 1? What are you saying? Brian Tellis on Radio 1?
Radio 1, I know.
I'm old. Radio 1. Be very careful. You have to say it clearly, yeah. Huh.
But he's just fantastic. I mean, there are some people who just got it, yeah. I mean, and I think he does.
I mean, these are perhaps not great facts for everybody, but if you want to have a sense of history of radio, the radio movement, post-privatization in India in the 90s, you would say that these are the names actually that were the forerunners. The Brian Tellis, as of course Gaurav Sharma took over and made sure Brian stayed at home and became an event company manager. But would you say that he would be one of the, if not the prominent voice right at the top of the beginning?
And the fact that he still continued, I think that's a brilliant thing, that in some way or the other, I think we've all continued with radio. I mean, the same thing happened, joined radio as a presenter, then kind of got into all the, the back end and trying to understand the business. And now back again as a presenter again. And, it's so much fun when you're just behind the mic, because, there are so many things that you can say where you don't have to worry about, yaar, isko pucho, kya karo, ye karo, then you just take your call and you just kind of move ahead.
Or is it an India thing, Gaurav, which you just touched on, that we never retire? That, whether it's Kapil Dev with his 434th wicket, you have to, pull him off literally, or whether it's politicians, I won't mention them, but they're a dime a dozen. They're there till then. In the South, we had one at 93 batting. So, is it that about us? Even in our small worlds, whatever career we're in, we're like, karna padega aur.
Yeah. I think it's true of the Indians and the Africans. Yeah, you had a couple of African presidents also who've been like 38 years and 92 and 93. But
Mugabe, of course. How could we forget? Yeah, it was 1005 by the time he died. Actually, yeah.
No, but it's true. Yeah, I think it's an India thing. We just. I mean, even though there will be lots of Netflix and Amazon and Sony Live and cricket matches and 5-day test matches, I think we still want to keep going on and on. It's like that Energizer battery. Yeah? You keep going on and on and on.
Don't have that sense of retirement with the Westerners who go and build a garden or, learn a new language or breed some cattle or whatever. We don't do all that. We just carry on till they actually say, okay, it's time to go for the funeral. He was a great man.
But have you ever thought of it? To be honest, I've been thinking about this now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking of whether I can, I bought
to the end.
The other day, I think I bought one of those single malts or whatever. And, when you buy that, you kind of get a 1-by-1 square feet land in Scotland. And I was actually thinking, I said, wow, man, I mean, I'm going to go there and stand there with a flag of India, I think. And, this is mine.
If you buy 2, you got a South Bombay apartment. I mean, really, what are you worried about? Is that true? I thought that was just like a myth.
No, it's true. Yeah, I mean, you can go and you can see that plot of land that you're getting. That
you got a 1 square foot land for one single malt? Full bottle. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Which is costly. It's not. Still land price should be more. But yeah, that's fabulous. I think the Scots were drinking when they came up with this idea. Clearly, maybe we should plug alcohol. Maybe alcohol is a good thing. Come up with good ideas for democracy. Gaurav, but just tell us one thing, that you've stuck to English largely also. Where everybody had to sort of Hindify more and more. You fought for your music and your stuff. Is that fair to say, or
Yeah, but I think for me, I think one of the biggest strengths, and I do feel, is really the Hindi and the English. So today, I think again that I think it's an advantage in today's
Can you
world.
mix it, or is it two different streams? Because we always made to mix it. Which sometimes you come, on television, English, and all that. You mix it, and then the musical choices sometimes are completely different.
Yeah. No, of course, from a purely radio perspective, you can't mix it. I mean, there are different formats, right? So you'll have an English station or you'll have a Hindi station. But I was saying personally, I think my comfort level with both the languages, I think, helped. Because I think that helped connect with that larger audience also, and also with the slightly more niche audience. So on one hand, you'll have a Fever and a Radio Nasha that probably reach out to, I don't know, like say 10 million people, and then you'll have a Radio 1 that'll probably reach out to 5 million people. But at least
both your audiences are larger than New Zealand, the country. Just to put this in shameful perspective, how dare you be so underpopulated, such a beautiful country like New Zealand? Yeah. So that's
that helps. So I mean, I could go back and talk about Hemant Kumar and Kishore Kumar and a Bappi Lahiri.
You put Hemant Kumar above Kishore Kumar, by the way. Imagine, your subconscious. I wonder what happened there.
And of course, then you could have a conversation on Beatles and Elvis and whoever. So Lady Gaga. So I think that comfort level helps.
Straight to Lady Gaga.
No.
Generational struggle. Language is good. Generational struggle continues.
There is a 25-year-old who's watching this. I mean, she shouldn't suddenly say, "What the hell?"
You ask
Lady Gaga came.
Ask the boys on our podcast. Every time we have a 20-year-old or 18-year-old, and we're chatting with them and do references. I can't believe I spoke to a girl who didn't know who Kapil Dev was. She's from Delhi. I mean, how will you not know who Kapil Dev is? And the reference, as we were talking, so I just threw in a reference, Kapil Dev, 1983, and she said, "Who's Kapil Dev?" And I was like, "What? We have reached a point where Kapil Sharma, with due respect, is known, but Kapil Dev is not known." I almost wanted to kill myself. I don't know. I feel horrible.
Waiting for the day. Just imagine if someone comes. I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you. What if someone comes up to you and tells you who's Sachin Tendulkar?
But it'll happen. Kapil Dev was Sachin Tendulkar of that generation. It'll happen. I mean, I guess we should just accept it. The world changes and not get complex about it. But it's a bit sad because Kapil Dev kept this country together for a few years. When he comes out to bat with the ball in his hand when we were not winning much, and then he gives you that great '83 World Cup, which people should never, ever, ever, ever forget. What a guy! I mean, he was a top draw. And
so Ranveer Singh is going to kind of get that back now. He's going to make sure Kapil Dev is known.
So the answer is, do you know Kapil Dev? Yes, I know Ranveer Singh. Oh God, what have we done? What have we done to our legends?
But I have to announce that the two people who will be known through generations will be Cyrus Brocha and Sharma Ji, because they will never retire.
Because now our next step is porn, and once that happens, we will leave a legacy that will, whether it's Hindi or English or rock or pop or Hemant Kumar or Kishore Kumar, Gaurav Sharma, Cyrus Brocha, pesh karte hai.
As long as our laptops are not kind of,
in sync.
Was getting into it, because I don't know about the WhatsApps of the world and stuff, but I'm sure if someone was to have access to Cyrus Brocha's machine, there'll be enough porn to last. I think. Imagine if the extraterrestrials came down and the world, there was a D-Day. And
don't look at me and single me out. I mean, let's be honest. There are parliamentarians in Bangalore who were caught the other day. So I mean, like, really, I'm following my leaders. My leaders do this, I do this. What is it?
Of course.
And there are worse crimes. If you look around the country, there are worse crimes than some dirty, creepy uncle watching some dirty stuff on his phone. I'm thinking if he keeps it there and that's all there is to it, we can live with it. I hope. Gaurav, by the way, what's your favorite genre of porn? है कोई जवाब अंग्रेजी में या हिंदी में?
I love my pets.
Disgusting, as usual. What do you expect? Okay, listen, before we take a break and bring Silvery in and talk about other things, let's talk about, so then the growth was astronomical after that. You stayed did you ever get tempted to say, get out of the audio business?
No, I mean, because, again, it was always, for me, there was always, one needs to have a distraction, a bit by the side. So there was always radio continuing, but then there was always theatre. There was always hosting, like you mentioned. There was always bits here and there that were kind of happening.
So you were never getting suffocated because of the other alternatives that you had creatively and all that.
And also because radio is just such a dynamic medium. I mean, really come to think of it, that it's not as messy as news, right? But it's live. It's entertainment, and it's changing every minute. I mean, right now, if one tunes into radio, we'll be talking about the match. We'll be talking about things that are happening around the world. There's, so it's...
We discuss porn. We haven't met in years. And
Yeah, I
immediately,
know. I mean, look at that.
it's just a reflection of our society that two men who haven't met for years immediately discuss sex. I mean, that's fabulous. Okay, before we bring him in, last question. Podcasts vis-a-vis radios. Now, radios rather. Is there a Does the twain meet, or is it opposing?
Yeah, I
Coke,
know.
Pepsi?
You know, I mean, look, one can just be, again, one can romanticize about the whole thing, and one can just kind of think about that song, Video Killed the Radio Star, and everyone thought in the 80s that, you know,
But that
that's
didn't
the
really
end of
happen.
radio, but that didn't happen. The same thing people will say, you know, will podcast. You know, I'll tell you why it can't, because I think radio is just so dynamic, and it's like a GEC, right? It's got everything. It's got ads, it's got songs, it's got contests, it's got a traffic update, it's got cricket live news. It's just so live, and it plays through the day that I think people come in for different things. There'll be one set of audience who will say, I want to listen to the song. There'll be someone who'll say, hey, I love this radio jockey. I love this presenter. I want to listen to what he says.
So you got the brand loyalty already also, haven't you?
Yeah,
over the years.
Of course.
And we Indians also, that's a good thing about us. We stick with our people in a sense.
Yeah, you wake up and you'll kind of tune in, you know, you'll switch that on. Up now people will say, yaar, कौन ये internet पे जाएगा, and you know what will happen, our podcast कहाँ पे है.
Silver, take him off air. He's going to kill our podcast. See what he's doing. Quickly, shut the show down.
But I'm a big fan of podcasts, and I think podcasts are fantastic because this can happen. I think one thing that's not happened in India, and also I think because of the censorship and everything, is talk radio. There's no talk radio. I mean, wherever I visited, you know, most of the radio stations, I mean, wow, man. I mean, the kind of talk radio is phenomenal. I don't know whether we will ever be as liberal as allowing talk radio. And because of this lack of talk radio, I think podcast just allows you to express and say so much more. And it allows anyone to kind of come on board and do his own.
We're talking about the West, when you visit the West, because they say that's the cradle for them of ideas, imagination. People just, free expression reigns, you know. Everybody says what they want clearly, whether it's transgender rights or some political controversial subject, abortion, anti-pro, whatever. So they can do that without any fear. But we are still a work in progress, because I don't even mention...
It's not going to happen. I think talk radio in India, I don't even see it happening in the next 10 years, unless and until they really get into...
Or they release Munawar Farokhi for whatever reason.
Yeah, just let him be, yeah?
Yeah, just take him out from there. Really sad story. Okay, Gaurav, anything else you want to talk about yourself, and you just tell us any great achievements? How many children do you have outside your own radio station?
Again, this is a global audience, a lot of people listening. So
say hello to Papa. Come on, say hello to Papa.
Yeah, if you guys are around and if you're watching this.
This must have happened to you 100 times. I remember once or twice it's happened to me when I'm eating in a restaurant and chatting with friends, and a lady actually just before lockdown came and said, I recognize that voice. Are you the guy on radio? And she said, radio, huh? Or some radio show that we had done, and I was quite, you know, and I'm sure that happens to you, Gaurav. They just pick up the audio, so you cannot escape being the father, because everyone will hear your voice and immediately relate.
Which is why I think masks work fantastically for us. Yeah, just
the muffled sound.
Yeah.
All right. But by the way, how were you during lockdown? In terms of presenting shows and all went online?
Yeah, and 15 kilos lighter. So
that too. Is that honestly a very personal question? But is it obviously deliberate, right?
No, it wasn't deliberate.
You had COVID 3 times.
2.5 actually. The third time I was asymptomatic. So
by then you were the king of the ring. Yeah.
No, so but really it was a challenge, yeah, and it still is, because we've just kind of opened up, but everyone's still doing their shows from home. All the presenters across the country. So A, network problems. B, and I think this is again the Indian family. Yeah? I mean, we're anyway. We fight for space, right? So imagine radio jockey doing a show and suddenly the mother comes in, beta, kuch khalo, or you know, there's a crow outside, or there's construction happening all the time. So
I love all that. That's the realness of India.
I know.
And you hit the nail on the head. The things you've described are so, for urban phenomena, this is exactly it. The kawa is always there. The construction work, COVID be damned, started by June. Everything had to be fixed. And there's always some boy shouting from down, or some mother or father fighting, and, you know, a car honking. Oh my God, it's lovely. This is India.
So even right now, just before our podcast, you know, so the cook comes in the morning. We've just started letting them in. So Romy goes up to her and says, you know, abhi bhaiya ka ye show hoga.
Live show,
chup rehna. So, you know, then she said, how am I going to cook? Nahi, to abhi to sirf tum thoda sabji kaat lo, ye kaat lo. That's the magic, yeah.
She's on the intercom with the cook saying, "Ab 5 minute mein boiler ko chalu karo."
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, this is we should do another show just rapping about that. I think lockdown has been hilarious.
No. We should do a show on radio,
Gaurav, I cleaned a toilet for the first time in my life. And I can't tell you, I'm really good at it now. The first time I was like, it was horrible because my wife had just used it, as I've mentioned many times. But after that, it was, I became like an artist. Now I'm very good. I'm really good. There's not a speck in, on, out, round. That blue thing, whatever it's called, I just, spread it everywhere. I use gloves. I feel like a sissy, but you're cleaning a toilet. It humanizes you a lot. It equalizes your ego's really given a beating.
Utensils was my thing.
Utensils kya hai bhai? Go to the bottom.
Jhadu, pocha was my thing.
Really?
So that also helped. Yeah.
But did you bend and do it like the women do? Or did you stand like the men do that, like they're playing golf? Because that's totally different. Golf, right?
So I would get into these meetings which would be video mute, because again, then it's video mute and you're doing jhadu and you're listening to the meeting, and then it's kind of going on. And of course, once or twice you forgot that you've not put your audio on mute, and then you're in the loo and you're kind of peeing, and then suddenly there's this sound, the water
naked gun moment.
Naked gun moment. What a film, man. What a film, and what a series, man.
Yeah. Oh, really? I wish we could. Perhaps these are not the best times for it. It's filled with accidents and injuries and illnesses. But we'll take a break. Gaurav will come back and quickly freewheel for 15 minutes after that, if you have the time. And I just want to tell you, all the guys who worked with you in all the various channels, now the Fever family, behind you are all the RJs that you put up their first, sort of representations of them as they enter the channels or stations. And really nice. Really nice background. Well, all I have is a naked woman.
I know.
Which may be a relative, so I better not get into it.
जिन्होंने भी मुझे मस्का नहीं लगाया वो
पीछे का wall पे life के लिए life sentence. Okay, we're taking a break. Gaurav Sharma, when we come back, the legend from the audio world of India.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and LinkedIn too, for that matter. And we've been putting up some content on LinkedIn, so do check that out. I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Storytel and The Whole Truth Foods. Thank you for supporting us. So, great week on the network again this week. Definitely do check out the Pragati podcast. Pavan spoke to Krish Ashok. They discussed science, knowledge, and the wonder of Indian home cooking. Staying in the realm of food, on This Round is on Me, we had AD Singh as a guest. Gauri and AD discussed the 10 years anniversary of The Table and the 20-year anniversary of Olive. So two of Bombay's biggest restaurateurs have a conversation about the restaurant business. All Things Policy celebrated 500 episodes on January 27th. Manoj talks to Aditya and Anirudh about the surprising origins of the podcast, its evolution over the last few years, and its exciting future. This episode also marks their video debut, so definitely do check that out on YouTube. On Storytellers and Storysellers, Vineet talks to Ranjit Pratap Singh. Ranjit is the co-founder and CEO of Pratilipi. Pratilipi is a company that's recently acquired IVM, and Ranjit on this episode discusses his plans to build a homegrown media empire, his love for comics, and how India can have its own comic cinematic universe. And finally, Cyrus had an exciting week. We had some amazing guests this week. We had Vishal Gondal come and talk about Fauji. We had Atish Tathir talk about the various issues that he had been facing with his OCI card and other things like that. We had Adam Dow talk about things going on in the US and the evolution of what's happening there. We had Siddharth Kannan come and talk about his history with Cyrus and his new show. So definitely do come check that out as well. And with that, let me take you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. We're back. I don't know why you did your Sushmita Sen moment there. What the hell was that?
It's something I do. It's something I do on this Antakshari with Sharma ji. So I started something too.
We know.
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun. And every day at 8 o'clock, it's live. It's live on Insta. And so
we're going to make Silvery go against you for maybe a couple of rounds there. Because he's a generation of 19 to 2000, millennial. After that? What after that?
Let's do it.
20 odd, right, Silvery? You see the change in the music. Although he's also a Beatles fan, but I don't. Hindi.
Silvi.
Silvery is his pet name. Yeah, Punjabi, yaar. You should understand it. Antariksh. God.
It's
Antriksh,
quite close to Antakshari.
every single podcast is going to have this, man. Please, can we make a promo? Make a 30-second promo. We'll start it with that. Okay,
Let's
so
start
that
with that, yeah.
by the time Gaurav, the guest, comes to this side, the question is not asked again. Silvery, long and wrong story. Okay, Silvery, let's go.
Yes. All right.
Are you doing Antakshari one round?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
okay,
do it,
yeah, we
man. Let's all three of us do it. So hang on a minute.
Right. Yeah.
Cyrus, you need to join. So बैठे बैठे क्या करें, करना है कुछ काम, शुरू करो अंताक्षरी लेके सिल्वी का नाम म. Come on.
Okay.
Who's
So
going?
starts? Do I start?
Yeah. Oh, you're doing tick tick one, tick tick.
Okay.
I'll go.
okay,
Maike
good.
मत जाइयो मेरी जान. चलो. No.
What?
No.
ना करते प्यार है मैं कर गई.
Hey, not bad, Sylvie. You're good at this.
Yeah. Okay. चलो कर गई. Yeah.
Okay,
कर
done.
गई ई चकदाना बी चकदाना दाने ऊपर दाना ई चकदाना न N.
No. Oh God. Nahi Dishai. It's a promo from a TV show. Nahi Dishai. Please, it's audio. It's from the 90s. There was a TV show on drugs. Nahi Dishai. You can Google it. I'm not lying. It's not a lie, bro.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Aap batao.
Will continue for years and years, but Cyrus Brocha will never be.
Damn you, yaar. Gaurav Sharma with your rules and regulations, yaar. This qualification is not meant to be accepted by any society member in this country. Silvery, what can we talk about?
Okay. We have a couple of very interesting stories. One of them is out from Pune. A 27-year-old woman has been using dating apps throughout this pandemic. So she lost her job in the pandemic, and she's using dating apps to dupe about 16 men. She's duped. How she would do it is she would get in touch with men from outside Pune who would then have to travel to meet her to Pune. Okay, she'd take them to hotels, lodges, like flats, and then spike their drinks with her mother's prescribed sleeping pills, and then rob them. How she got caught is the police formed like these fake Bumble and Tinder profiles. So the police said like our crime branch had created.
I love this that they made these fake.
Exactly.
Of course, they have to make fake accounts, right? They're not going to say crime branch. Please accept me. Yeah.
Even the 7 guys she had a whatever thing with, they all had fake accounts. You think they're really Gaurav Sharma there? Come on. So it's the same for everyone. Go on.
Yeah. So they set up a date. The crime branch, they had fake profiles set up on Tinder and Bumble. They said they matched her with her. They set up a date and they arrested her on the date.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Gaurav, you tell me. Sometimes you think the police, a certain crime is more interesting for them. ये तो करना है अब. Yeah, ये तो करना है. Disguise करके ladies के पीछे भाग जाओ और पकड़ो. I think that if you tell them a small fight happened in the colony between 7 people and nobody wants to bring their bikes out and come there, sort it out. But this, I think if I was a cop, I would be excited. Because
I would, right? And,
would you?
And imagine for the first time, someone in the team would say, okay, now let's open a Tinder app and, let's kind of make
Not
it
first time, Gaurav Sharma. Police are also humans, yaar. Police are also males. Yeah. Indian males are wearing a uniform, same as us.
Yeah, it'll be hilarious trying to when you see a cop trying to figure out Tinder and Bumble. Like for the first time.
वो सब acting है. Depends on the age group. I'm saying 30 plus, 35 plus, there's no way they won't know by now. We are a phone country, yaar. Come on. And we're also a lonely country. My good friend Kunal Vijayekar spends 22 hours on these apps. And he has created profiles of, beautiful looking 18-year-old men with hair on the chest and all that, which is, I don't know what he's trying to do. Because one meeting and the girl will kill herself, which is so different from the presentation. How does it end? They took the girl in?
They took the girl in, but the amount of money that they seized was 15.25 rupees in cash. 15.25 lakh rupees in cash.
देखा Punjabi है ना? I mentioned that ना? देखा गिनने को नहीं आता है. Now let's see what happened.
Patiala peg. But really, how do you think that? How do these things happen? 15 lakhs. It's not a.
15 lakhs in cash.
It's over 10 guy, 12. It's still a lot of money. Yeah. Gaurav, how much money do you take? Suppose you're just going on a normal day at work in cash. I would have nothing. I would have like 10, 20 bucks.
Yeah.
I think I did ask for money enough for vada pav or something. That's about it. Yeah.
But that's also because you run a friggin' trio of channels, and so you don't have to ever put your hand in your pocket. It's another story. But I'm saying today's day and age, not too many people carry cash and walk around in any case.
No, they don't. No.
So what did she do? She told them that you meet me but bring 50 grand.
No, so she would drug them, and then once they're asleep, whatever money they have in the
how much would they carry on their pocket to reach 15 lakhs, yaar?
It was also 289 grams of gold.
What?
That they found on her, yeah.
No,
so 15 lakhs and 289 grams of gold. And then some cell phones also.
Identified those guys. It can't be Cyrus, it can't be me, it can't be you. Look at us. There's no gold, there's no cash,
That's
there's no
true.
nothing.
You have to pay for the lodge and
Yeah.
all that. No? So maybe they had to, but you pay by card. Who'll carry 40 grand in cash and walk around?
Maybe we should trick them like, wouldn't it be so nice if you like got all this money along?
No. But you know what? If they were doing this, they would carry cash, right? Because the credit card bill was
Correct.
provided.
Oh, Gaurav Sharma, कैसा पता है तेरे को? Similarly, we are good detectives. We cracked this case immediately. Bhagat's been going to the same lodge for the last 20 years under the name of Robin Sharma, the famous philosopher.
Gaurav, were you one of the men who got duped?
Kumar Gaurav. No. Where were you? Where was Cyrus last week, though? He was in Pune, right?
Everybody
He was
knows
in Pune.
Cyrus broach
He
ya
was
haath
in
nahi डालता है pocket में कभी भी. Not for woman or man. So I'm off the hook, right, Silvery? I'm a known miser. There's no question. That woman would have called the cops on me.
Yeah. Like, ये सिर्फ ₹5 लेके कमरे में आया. What is this?
You know, another thing I want to ask is they should know that somewhere life will take a full circle and they'll get caught, right? I mean, or is it an addiction? Is it just that then they say,
I think
like, okay.
So
she got drunk with her success.
Yeah, I think that's probably part of it. It says that during the pandemic she lost her job. She had already lost her father about 10 years back, and her mother had been prescribed with like sleeping problems.
So that gives you the logic to tell yourself that ये ठीक है. The morality code is now okay because I've suffered. I get that point. But beyond that, the smartness to raise 15.2 in cash, I'm having a problem with. I don't know how that, because I can't see guys walking around with 1 lakh. He's supposed to be 15 guys. It just seems a bit odd unless you got into their safe deposit of some, the what do you call it, the tijori.
I mean, it's possible that they know about the 16 people. What if she duped hundreds? You don't know.
We can get Madhur Bhandarkar to make a film on this. I think it'll be a super hit film because you break the film into 16 guys. That's 6 minutes each anyway. So that's an hour and a half done.
And the cops, 20 minutes for the cops.
Of course.
Can Kunal play the cop?
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll play a fabulous.
We'll have to make the uniform now only.
Can he play the girl?
I don't think 15 lakhs would happen. I'm just being open. I just don't see that number being raised. So mean when in doubt, nothing to say, we attack Kunal. This is not fair. Let's move on.
Oh, guy, he's not even here. I mean, like, Kunal, are you listening? Hang on.
No, he never
call
listens.
him and check with him.
He's on
you should keep him on speaker or something,
No, we keep him in the garage. Chalo, should we squeeze one more?
All right, the next one is basically the Supreme Court of India has for the first time placed monetary worth on the value of a tree. And they have said each tree is worth rupees 74.5 thousand multiplied by the age of the tree. So the tree is like 3 years old. It is 3 into 74.5K.
Ageism.
Yeah.
The higher the age.
If it's a heritage tree, which is more than 100 years old, then it is well over 1 crore, the value of the tree.
So Brocha is over 1 crore right now, is it?
I'm a tree which was, so I'm history. That's what I am. But one sec. On one hand, we have removed all the trees. I won't get into the debate about whether you need the roads or not. But we removed all the trees in urban India. In a place like Mumbai, we have 8 trees left. It's a bit of a sin. And now we're talking about this whole thing where we value them so much. And
exactly, this is the first time this has happened. So now they're saying this might set a precedent as to when trees are cut down or something.
I know the governments will be in trouble, because if you put a cost for
exactly.
Then just imagine what's going to happen when,
Correct. Not just Maharashtra government, across India, the governments have said they will put the trees back, which is ridiculous. All right, to rehouse the tree which you uprooted, the chances of putting it back are not very good, for it to sort of get rooted, and after months and all that. I don't know how they preserve them apparently, then they put them back. But it's a very high fallout rate on that one. But
I also want to know how do they value that 74,000? I mean, that breakup will be interesting. I mean,
it says it was a panel of 5 experts. So I imagine they were experts who were familiar with what the values of such things could be. So like people
as
in the forest department
or
something.
For expertise, you need to be able to climb a tree, remove a leaf, urinate on a tree. You've got to have some tree culture. That's things come to mind immediately. Yeah. But I just want to harp back to my point, which is simple. They also said 3 trees in Maharashtra, 3 for 1. As in where we uproot 1, we put 3. Have you seen the spaces in at least South Mumbai? Where are they going to fit the trees? You have to take out Mr. Sharma to put a tree in. It doesn't make any sense. So
But still, Cyrus, I mean, it's like if you still come to South Bombay, you still find so much more than when as you keep going north. It's almost like, it's kind of
No, Lokanwala and beyond, it's like you don't even think about it. Yeah. Then you have to wait till you reach Marwet to see a tree again. But I don't know. I'm a bit big. I'm a tree fan only because of shade more than anything else, and the fact that trees are trees. I would like them around. And when people tell me this tree in the Oval is 117 years old, and I feel sad, like if you take that out, I feel like you've murdered someone. 117 years, it survived everything, seen wars, seen the British, seen perhaps Vijay Merchant bat for the first time, and probably decided I won't move after that because he was really slow apparently. But yeah, and then you just, some guy comes and just in 10 seconds, it just, it's gone. All that just destroyed, that history, that knowledge of the tree, the whatever it saw with its own eyes, lovers and riots and God knows, some great people, some less great people, and you just take it out. Okay, I've made everybody sad on the show. I apologize.
I think Cyrus should become a poet now. I mean, a philosopher. Look at.
We've all got tears in our eyes. Now people are dying across the globe.
Take this recording and put it up. I mean, this was, I think, Cyrus's monologue, which I think,
my wife
got that opportunity.
My wife and my daughter. See, I am now, I think of myself as a eunuch in a nice way. I don't think it's a bad word to use. Where basically except for work, everything else is decided by the women in my house. And I think that's the way it should be. Gaurav, are you like that? I've accepted it happily. I've just accepted my position happily. And they are big environmentalists, tree lovers, animal lovers. I'm go with the flow. I'm not going to argue. You want more trees? I do what my wife says. In any case, as a husband, I'm like a tree, and not in a good way. Just don't do anything.
No, but on one hand, I think it's great that they're valuing the tree. On the other hand, of course, like I said, it'll be interesting just from a knowledge point of view to know how do they value that 70?
How will they teach it in Wharton Business School? Now, अब देखिए एक पेड़ है, उसका value है 83,000 rupees. अब एक basic breakup है, root का 12,000. I don't. What is it? Bark, right? The middle.
Oh,
bark?
they said.
And what about oxygen? What about
oxygen?
oxygen?
Yeah, they said exactly that. They said oxygen itself, the oxygen that the tree produces itself is worth 45,000 from the 74.
Why? How? What does that mean? That it's giving you that oxygen. How do you value it?
Because the tree is able to give you that much amount of oxygen, so that oxygen...
You keep an old asthmatic patient under the tree and see how much he gets per day. Arey Ashwin bhai, wo to mari gayo.
What about the value of a human being then? The oxygen and of course, all the oxygen that we let out also from different parts of the body.
Oh, that's nitric oxide and carbon dioxide, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think it's oxygen which comes out, bro.
Good education.
Good education. Oxygen is a good air.
Which school, young man?
Oh, don't mention it. Some school tree. Some school which had a tree in front. We stayed under it and learned. And hey, guys, you all are talking too much. Is there time for one quickie?
Let's just go.
Gaurav has 2 minutes. We haven't started the emails. Fast. Let's go. Let's
go. The first one comes in from Ashwini Deshpande. She asks, Cyrus, did they catch the thief who broke into your dad's office?
No, in fact, the complaint letter, they've just sent me to go through it because it's a combined complaint letter and today I'm at home. We haven't caught the thief, but I am no Sherlock Holmes, that I figured it out. It's very simple. Oh, Gaurav. So we got robbed. The office got robbed, to tell you. Yeah, in Churchgate. And basically there's construction work outside. There's what do you call those things? Scaffoldings. And there's a green parda which covers it, So they've obviously come from inside the green parda and they've cut the thin barriers that we have outside. What do you call that? And then they've got into the thing and they took whatever they could, which was nothing, by the way. They couldn't get anything in any of the 3 offices. But cut a long story short, the complaint letter to the cops are coming in today, so I'll just follow it up. But I think it's definitely an inside job done by these guys who've been working there. They have the implements, they have the time, and fountain area is shut by 6 o'clock. Nobody's there after that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very easy to do anything beyond 9, 10, 11, now that there's no nightclubs or anything really functioning. So I've solved it. Now it's just a question who exactly has done it, but it's in that group.
Maybe it's the Pune woman who got caught. She wanted more money.
But she's already in jail. And how will she climb? The climb is not that easy. I tried to do it a little bit. Now you've got to be a little skillful. So it's got to be someone who does that. It looks easy because you can see the scaffolding. Try. Oh, actually, don't try because if you fall, your parents will come after me. Don't try. Send somebody else, Yeah.
All right. Cool. Next one comes in from Kashin Shetty. Next one comes from Harvesh Kasad. He asks, Gaurav, do you think the romance of sports radio commentary in India is over? You only find radio commentary in England and Australia. Your thoughts?
No. Okay, let Gaurav go for it.
Yeah. No. I don't think the romance is over. But again, it's about allowing radio commentary on the private FM channels, which is not allowed. So we just kind of come in and give a score update. But if you tune into All India Radio, and I very often listen to it. In fact, I prefer, and I'm saying that I prefer listening to All India Radio over the FM channel, especially when a cricket match is on, and the way they kind of describe, you really kind of enjoying the match.
And Gaurav, there's also, let's look at it this way. When you're self-driving and you want to stay in touch, the only way is radio. You cannot look at something, even if you have a phone ready and you have whatever, Sony Live or whatever. You have to listen. So for those who self-drive, that's why I've always been a fan, because sooner or later I'm self-driving and I'm listening to the match. Like today, if I have to drive, the match will be on in the car, as long as it's running, of course. Shout out to Ronak Kapoor, who's on AIR. Even though they pay him so little, his love for radio, just like Gaurav's initially, is so strong. But like you said, I think our generation, not to put down the next generation, but for us, it's just different. It's like we grew up on this food, so I can't really explain it to other people, because for them it's so easy to see graphics and see the show, slow motion and 17 perspectives. It's, and then what have we got? We've got a guy who's giving you some Hindi that nobody can understand, trying to explain to you, Vatavaran mein aisa ho. I mean, it's not even close to the action, but that's what we grew up on and we love that. What can we say?
And I think the only way that they've changed the commentary right now, if you're listening to it on radio, is that I think one over is in English and one over is in Hindi.
And then they converse together in bilingual and without dropping a beat. And my point to Ronak Kapoor, my good friend from ESPN who does that, is that, bro, what happens if you don't speak one language? So you're not figuring out what the other guy is saying. You're just explaining.
One over, it's a blank.
It's a blank. When they're doing it together, it's pointless. But it's fun. I'm a big fan. I as Gaurav said, I think Gaurav knows better than all of us. Radio has survived. You've taken your shots, you've taken your punches, and radio has gone nowhere. And in fact, in India, it looks like every medium has survived. Theatre is still there. The circus is still there, by the way, Silvery. Tell Amit that's our last drop-off, if this show doesn't work. Yeah.
All right. Next one comes in from Kashin Shetty. He says, good morning, Cyrus. Which was a happier moment for you, when your children were born, or that one day when there was no traffic in Parel?
Virat Kohli kind of question this is,
Very tough. Also, Gaba Test match. It's very tough. Lakshman's 281. So many great days there. Kids were also not bad, but I don't remember that with that much detail as I would Lakshman's 281, for example. When my son was born, I wasn't really prepared in a sense, because my wife did everything. I didn't even know we had sex. And next thing I know, I'm holding this small child. It's only when you actually hold your own child that your emotions are not. Till that point, I was still a bachelor. It's for Indian men, it's a slap on the face. Suddenly you're holding a child and then you feel that bond immediately. But till then, honestly, I had no kid culture. Didn't have time for my nephews or nieces. Didn't really like children too much. I like dogs. I like cats. I'm okay with animals, but no. So yeah, it's a tough one. But there's so many great moments. The cricket has been huge for me. My mood goes, only my mother understands, Gaurav, maybe you understand, right? How our mood changes because a match goes the wrong way, or how happy we are when the match goes the right way. Then your worst enemy, you're magnanimous. Yaar, have one more, I'll pay. It's just the effect that cricket or sport has on men and sometimes women is just ridiculous. And those who don't understand that just think you're mad. But I literally used to cry and things like that as an adult. Tears.
Yeah. I mean, you get into this horrible mood and you throw things around and you don't want to eat food, or you don't want to change your position, that wherever you're sitting on that sofa or you're sitting on that chair. And I mean, it still happens, right? It still happens. I mean, I've kept that TV on, and every time I'm like, every 2 minutes when I'm getting bored of this, I'm like, Achha, chalo,
you don't have to put a rider, Baba. We totally understand.
No, but and it's one of those things, like I'm pretending I'm thinking, Cyrus, what did he just say about that?
Repeat that question.
48 for no loss. Okay, let's get back.
Fair enough. Right? Yeah, really. But I don't know how to explain it to people. We invest too much in it, and maybe we're not too religious. So the religious spiritualism has gone into other things. I don't know. But I think everybody has that about them, and for us, sport. So kids are great. No disrespect. I love my kids, do anything for them, and most fathers would say the same thing, except those who have ugly kids. But for me, cricket, I can tell you my life through cricket. Whether it's 1983, 85, Lara's 150 in Barbados in the 90s, and it's all there in my head.
Though I'd love to ask Virat this question also, because it would have been tough, right, for him. I mean, on one hand, he went back, he left the series, and of course, when he left the series, I mean, what a turnaround. So it would have been interesting for him, because he's a cricket freak himself. I mean, he loves his cricket. So imagine here, Anushka is giving birth to the baby boy, and on the other hand, we win the 4th test match. I mean, it would have been like a double, like twins.
See, but this is the way of the modern cricketer. Everybody's talking about that because Natarajan didn't see his baby for 6 months, but he's not Virat. He's not the superstar. The superstar goes back. If the English big guys go back, Aussies, South Africans, West Indians.
Oh, they always, They've
all done that. Now, no, it didn't happen before. This is the way of the world. I feel a little sad that people have to judge him like that, because I think he's the cricketer of his generation. But Rahane and the boys were superb. It doesn't take away from Virat, but we Indians, we can't stop ourselves. I made a gag on our show actually, where I said the match started started today. And of course, Rahane is no longer captain, although there was an awkward moment when he moved the field. Well, what the hell? But look at it this way. How positive is it for us Indians that we've got so much talent, bowling and batting? I mean, Pujara, now that you started me off on cricket. I mean, I want to lick his feet when, I think he's God, the way he stood there for 2 consecutive series in Australia and said, "Main rahunga. You do what you want." He just put the bat there and said, "I will not."
I mean, his body was playing more than his bat. Yeah, I mean,
fair enough, Gaurav. But this is what we never saw in our Indian teams before. This heart. I mean, you had a Gavaskar and then it was a bit of a struggle after that. Maybe it's new India. Maybe I can become right wing myself soon. No, Jawan. There's my agenda. Let's start the march. Oh, sorry. March is the bad word. March is the bad word right now. Yeah. Okay, guys, are we done?
Yes, we're done.
I've got dog walking to do and watching the game. Great pleasure talking to you, brother. You don't need any compliments from all of us. You are the industry. You've been around, and I think what you've left behind. One day, people will talk about the Gaurav Sharma years, just like how they spoke about Shakespeare's years or Tendulkar's years. You'll leave behind you that indelible mark. I'm pretty convinced, because you stayed in one place, bro. All of us, we went all over the place. How do you define us? But you are radio. Simple as that.
Great, thank you so much. And I
can argue.
You need to do this. Come on, you need to do this.
Yeah,
everyone.
Chalo. Middle-aged men.
Yeah.
What are we doing with our lives?
I know. We're having fun.
But in the meantime, England 49 for no loss.
I know.
You know what time we end. Yeah.
Achha, quickly now go and get a wicket. Thoda kaam karo.
Chepok, not turning. All right, guys.
All right.
If I can find my way out. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Hey, I'm Zarina, your peak performance coach, leadership coach, and life coach. And I'm here to unleash that power within you with your weekly dose of mantras and empowerment. Tune in to Monday Mantras every Monday for your quick fix, and the Empowering Series with Zarina Poonawalla every Thursday for riveting real-life stories. You can catch us on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.
2020 is a difficult year. A global pandemic, protests, elections, recessions. You get the picture. What we need is a space where we can have nuanced discussions about global affairs and foreign policy. That's where I come in. My name is Hamsini Hariharan and I host the States of Anarchy podcast. Every second Tuesday, I speak to experts in the field of international relations to make a little more sense of the world. So join me on the IVM podcast app, website, or wherever you're listening to me right now.